So hello again. My name is Paddy Sire, and this is the second part of the video I'm putting on here. The videos I'm putting on about for those of you suffering like myself, mental health issues from the Fort McMurray fire. Those of you that are suffering might hopefully find some solace in this. Just continue on. This is the second video, obviously. If you just started watching, check out the other one. I'm here in Oslo, Norway. I moved here. I had to move away. I had to get out. But like I said earlier, I was lucky at getting out. I was in the middle of talking about some of the stuff that, like dealing with Dr. Alden Ashi. It was great. Till he got his hair cut. Jesus, I went back to see him. They kind of called me in just for a little re-evaluation. Kind of very nervously went in there. I didn't want to kind of stick me in there again, but so I went in to see him, and he this awful funny haircut. I'm just so grateful. Sometimes when you're in that situation, you're so scared when you're in a nut house. You know, people's appearance means everything. He had this awful scary looking haircut on him, and it was like the second time I seen him was like a different guy, and I just got a completely different vibe off him. So he reminded me of my older brother and everything. So it was like, just glad he didn't get that haircut. That made a big difference to me. It's amazing the things that you pick up on, you know, when you're in these situations. There was another one, Dr. Drew, very nice guy. I kind of was reluctant to. I didn't really cooperate for the first few days. I wouldn't give him blood. Wouldn't go to any of the meetings. I gotta say, and I still would go. The best times I had, the best healing times I had, are group therapy, men's therapy, women's therapy, whatever the case may be. Where you go in, it was mixed with men and women. You kind of get it. They talk about different things. Acceptance being a key one. I gotta mention a bit of humour first. There was one day a soldier was saying sort of the wrong things, and I reversed everything I was saying to agree with him because he was a soldier. And you know, obviously they have some serious PTSD issues, much more serious than ourselves. I think in the fire, it's a different world. They've had the things they have to put up with. So I reversed what I was saying and started agreeing with him, and I know that pissed off Dr. Drew. The next day I came in, he kind of looked over, and there was 8 of us in the room and for having this therapy this one morning, like, you know, group therapy. He looked over at me and kind of my direction. He said, some people come from certain places, the highest levels of insanity in the world. And he's looking over at me, and I forget exactly his point, but he was like, just basically have to accept it, and the acceptance is a big part of it. I am mentally, not 100%. Maybe I think I was always a bit fucked, to be honest. A lot of people will say that. I've been a crazy fucker always, and it probably was. When it was upside down again, let's see. But, that's just, it's the way the cookie crumbles. You can't be beating yourself up too much about it. You can, if you, like when I realized I was sick, just pushed me further on the physical side of things, and that has had amazing benefits. I'm way better. You have to acknowledge that you're a little bit sick in the first place. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I think the guys are, if I was suicidal, I don't think I'd tell anyone. I think I'd be ashamed. So when I read the newspapers about people in my town that are saying they're suicidal, I think they're very brave. I think they're helping others by, the more we talk about our mental health issues, the better. A broken bone is something Dr. Drew mentioned, so he really helped me. When we have a broken bone, and the military guy confirmed it as well, it's like, everyone can see that you're hurt, your arm's in a cast, but no one can really tell most of the time. It's not always obvious if someone is mentally hurting. When you are a little bit sick yourself, it's probably easier to spot people like that. I thought I was always good at helping other people. I was years in the bar business, so we came across a lot of insanity in that business, and people reveal so much about themselves. You learn a lot about people in that business, so I always thought I was pretty steady. The fire taught me that I wasn't, because I could have handled so many things better. Even though I was in a ridiculously hard situation, felt I couldn't talk. About a year ago now, if I was to talk, I don't want to talk about some of the things that happened to me, about being unsure, the path that I went down. I won't get manic if I do, but I just don't want it. I won't achieve anything. I'd be able to forgive. There's a couple of people that owe me apologies, but for legal reasons I can't do it, because I could sue the arse off them, even though I've told them I just want the apology. I've reached out to their companies, and Jesus, I seen a Coldwell banker sign in Europe once against some row that night. I nearly got killed. 17 stitches was nothing compared to what it could have happened that night. It was absolute fucking insanity. So the little things triggered me. It did. You know, it was about a year ago now when I first came over to Europe. I was walking down the street all happy head me, and looked to my left and just sign. I fucking, you know, I would start bubbling. You know, it took me a little. Spain really helped. A lot of lovely times in Spain, lovely people, a calm life, a lot of exercise, a lot of sunshine. I'm really lucky I was able to get away. Dr. Drew brought up the fact, and he helped me. That group therapy helped me so much. He introduced me. He kind of, how would he put it? When he was going on about some people come from a certain place, you have to accept. Maybe he was saying you have to accept maybe that you can't go back to what is triggering you. And I thought to myself, the next time I lose the head in Fort McMurray, you know, I kind of was in mind. I remember talking to a politician one day. He triggered me, something fucking terrible, school teacher, and I was just talking to him about other things I was involved in up there, and I was just kind of getting all manic. Even when I was roaring my head off at the football pitch here last night, I was still about that. I was still angry about something that in 2009 wasn't dealt with. I have to laugh at government incompetence. People, you know, they get up in the morning, they lace up their shoes, and some of these government people are not serious at all. They're unaccountable. But whatever. You have to laugh. So you don't laugh, you'll end up crazy like I've been. And it's just not worth it. And one of the worst things about it is it has an awful effect. I know it has an awful effect on my family, and that shames me. My parents in particular, my siblings, I love them and all, but the fact that my parents are probably upset about their state of me at times. I didn't tell them nothing for 6 months. They knew my house burned down, but they didn't know that I was uninsured and all the trouble I was getting into and stuff. I just because it's not in my nature to if I have a problem, I deal with it myself. I don't like to tell people my problems too much. It's typical man, I guess, Irishman as well. And just bottle it up, and then it's powder keg and you explode. Sometimes it's good to talk. I thought I'd be getting slagged in Ireland about being in a mental health institution. I went talking to went for a pint with a good friend and his brother. And geez, that was a great time because he was telling me all sorts of his own personal little problems. And the same way, kind of make your friends actually sitting down having a few pints with your friends. If you have the certain friends, not everybody, you can have a few pints that can actually make you feel good. Other friends they're not in a good situation themselves. I have a friend who wasn't in a very good situation. The Scottish nurse I mentioned in the other video, obviously I wouldn't name any names, but she said there was an Irishman in here a few weeks ago, it was my other friend, and he'd to be chained. He's wild, he'd to be chained. He's got a good heart. Something very simple is breaking his heart. He's a good man. He misses his whatever, but he had the heart torn out of him a little bit, so he's wild. And some people are I find strangers almost better, easier to talk to, less judgmental. There's dangerous words. For those of you watching, if you've got friends and their loved ones that are hurting, please avoid using the word should. When you tell someone, this is something I learned off Dr. Drew as well, when you tell someone you should do something, you're insulting everything they've done already. You're making it really hard for them to heal. It's not an appropriate word. I asked my family after 6 months, I said, when I do come home, I didn't go home straight away. I went to Spain for 6 months. I didn't see them for about a year after the fire. I asked them, I said, please don't give me advice. It might sound crazy, but it's very real. You don't want advice. In an awful situation in my head, I'm still learning to accept, trying to laugh, trying to forgive and get over things that have happened. I've totally forgiven all the government. I laugh at the incompetence and all that now. I get a good giggle out of it. For example, I do admire the Alberta Health Services, but I'm always thinking of costs. It's just the way I am. I always think of costs. I used to laugh at things on site sometimes. The hospital was another example of it. 16 others. They had an hour and they had about 20 staff asking us what was going on. Customer feedback. I'm all for customer feedback, but they've got an hour basically. We were short a few sandwiches. I got my appetite back, and I'd been probably eating a lot of sandwiches because the meals weren't very big, and I was, eating a lot of sandwiches. So I hadn't been eating right at all. And they helped me, even though I wasn't taking pills. I was relaxing, and so I was relaxing, and I was eating and drinking, and being normal. And so the food was getting a bit scarce, but they still had 16 of us, a big meeting. 16 of us, 20 staff, complete dog fucking for an hour. And these are things that would annoy you, but you have to laugh. These people, but like, the government workers are just a different breed, totally unaccountable. You have to laugh at it. It's really important, because you might think I'm crazy bringing that up, but things like that do annoy me, because I've dealt and seen a lot of. I just don't like waste like that. When people who go to work, they should do a good job, like I do. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a concrete suspended ceiling, and everything's going to be perfect. Everything's going to go in there, the right attitude in the morning. I'm going to work hard all day long, and I'm going to enjoy it, and it's the only way I want to work, the only way I want to be. So I don't understand why other people are different. They go in and dog fuck all day, so but you have to laugh at it, because if you don't, their insanity will, you'll go insane. They say you laugh in the world, laugh with you, cry and you cry alone. That's very true. It's very relevant. Getting back to another thing Dr. Drew really helped me with is, it's like he reached into me one day. It's when the biggest weights came off me. He beat around the bush, and it applied to me. I think he tailor-made the speech for me. I felt like he did. Maybe it helped others as well. He said, if you tried in my situation, I really tried to get insurance and try to deal with them. It was my biggest thing. I don't mind the house burning down, the fact I'm in so much debt and all that. My life's fucked over there because I was uninsured and whatever, and I could honour the debt because I have other money and whatever, dwindling a little bit. I could get rebuilt with red tape, whatever. Just couldn't deal with that. I laugh at that now, whatever. It's a shame to be like that. Still owed money for ash, stuff like that. But Dr. Alden Ashe, he's like, did you try? And I remember, like, geez, I tried, and I kind of almost cried to myself. I really did try to have everything in order, and I had fire alarms all over the place, kind of half worried about it. I was quiet about it, I took it. I'll never take being fucked over again.